there's a feeling that creeps in quietly. You notice it when everything seems normal. Sometimes it's a quiet ache. Sometimes it hits like a wave. It's the need to walk out, to vanish, to start over with no one watching. Most people pretend it isn't there. They keep smiling, they go through the motions, they tell themselves this is just life. But the truth is, it's a warning. It's the mind trying to wake you up. It's the soul's alarm when you've given too much, waited too long, stayed too silent. You feel trapped in routines you never chose. You feel invisible in rooms you never wanted to enter. You watch the days repeat, each one asking for more of you but giving nothing back. People will say you're overthinking. They'll call it a phase. They'll remind you to be grateful. But they don't understand this ache. They don't know what it's like to carry the weight of always being available. They've never tasted the relief of imagining yourself gone, free, forgotten by the world, but finally true to yourself. Most run from this feeling. They cover it up with noise, with work, with busyness. They let the fear of being alone hold them hostage. But a rare few listen. They let the urge in. They don't beg for permission or applause. They disappear quietly. They become unreadable, untouchable, rare. That's where real power starts, not in being everywhere, but in choosing when to be gone. If you've ever felt this, you already know. You're not broken. You're awake. Don't wait for approval. Don't wait for them to see you. Step out, move in silence. If this speaks to you, make it count. Subscribe now and leave the crowd behind. Your value rises the moment you stop explaining, and your absence will say what words never could. Most people are masters of endurance. They carry heavy routines. They wake up, repeat yesterday, and call it living. Their faces are calm, but inside something is always unsettled. They say everything is fine. They say it's just how life goes. But something deeper aches in the silence. You see it in their eyes, the tiredness they can't name. The moments alone when the mask slips and the truth leaks out. They are tired of pretending, tired of being useful to everyone but themselves. They go along with plans they never wanted. They answer calls they wish they could ignore. They accept the weight of being reliable, even when it drains every part of them. The world praises this kind of suffering. It gives out medals for endurance. But no one talks about what is lost in the process. Dreams shrink, voices fade, the real self slips further away with each silent compromise. People stay because they think leaving is failure. They think suffering quietly is strength. They think being needed is the same as being valued. But this is the crowd's disease, quiet desperation hidden behind polite smiles. Most will keep going. They will keep nodding, keep giving, keep surviving. But inside, something vital is already left, and only the rare will feel the difference. Only the rare will hear the call to break the cycle. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone is built to be silent. The world won't notice when you disappear, but you will feel the freedom when you finally let go. Leaving makes people nervous. They talk about loyalty. They talk about gratitude. But what they really fear is losing control over you. When you stay, they know what to expect. You play your part. You carry their burdens. You answer their calls. Society celebrates those who endure. It calls them dependable. It rewards them with approval and acceptance. But it never rewards those who leave. The moment you step away, you become a threat. You become the problem they want to fix. They might shame you. They might try to pull you back. They may gossip, question your motives, make you feel guilty for wanting more. But their panic is not about you. It's about the gap you leave behind. It's about their routines breaking, their comfort slipping. People say quitting is weakness. They say it's selfish. But what they really mean is they can't use you anymore. When someone leaves, it challenges the order. It forces others to question why they stay. It exposes the hidden costs of being reliable. Most will never admit it. They hide their envy behind polite words. They pretend not to notice your absence, but they do. They fear the silence you leave behind. They fear your refusal to play along, because if you can walk away, maybe they could too, but they won't. Staying gives them safety. Leaving reminds them of their chains. In a world that praises endurance, choosing to go is the rarest rebellion. It takes away their power and gives it back to you. And once you've left, you'll see it clearly. Their fear was never about you. It was about losing the control they never deserved. Everyone dreams of escape at some point. It happens in the quiet hours. You imagine packing a bag. You see yourself walking out the door. No more obligations. No more roles, just freedom in a world untouched by your history. Most people hide these thoughts. They call them silly. They laugh them off. But the urge is real. It's a signal from deep inside. It means something is off. Your mind knows when it's had enough. It knows when you're living a life that's not truly yours. When every day feels like someone else's plan, the urge to leave is your own system fighting back. Psychology calls this an escape fantasy. But it's not weakness, it's a warning. It's your core self trying to get your attention. It's the honest voice saying, "You don't belong here." Some people drown it with distractions. They fill every moment with noise, work, or screens. They never let themselves feel the emptiness. But the urge always returns. It waits for quiet. It waits for a moment when you can't ignore it anymore. Ignoring the signal doesn't make it disappear. It only grows stronger with time. It might show up as stress, or anger, or sudden sadness you can't explain. Some call it a midlife crisis. Some call it burnout. But often it's just the mind begging for a reset. It's the soul asking for space. Listening to this urge doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're honest. It means you want something real. The rare ones don't run from the signal. They read it, respect it, and act. They know it's not just a fantasy. It's the beginning of real change. He didn't talk about leaving. He didn't just imagine it on lonely nights. He took the step. He broke from everything familiar. He let the crowd keep their comfort. He wanted something more than routine. Most people wait for permission. They wait for the right time. They hope for someone to understand. But Thoreau didn't wait. He understood that change demands action. He left behind easy answers. He walked away from predictable days. He chose the unknown. He risked being alone and misunderstood. It wasn't a retreat. It was a commitment to living awake. He built his own world. He stripped away what wasn't true. He refused to let the crowd write his story. Every day brought new doubts, but every step away gave him clarity. He listened to the silence. He learned from the woods. He discovered himself in the absence of noise. It takes nerve to leave. It takes will to stay gone. People may call it selfish. They may say you're lost. But only you know what it feels like to finally breathe. He made mistakes. He faced loneliness, but he found peace that the crowd can't imagine. He found a purpose that only exists outside comfort. Walking away isn't running. It's starting over. It's the rarest form of honesty. You don't need applause to begin. You don't need a map to continue. Sometimes the only way forward is away, and only you can take that step. Every choice has a price. Staying costs something. Leaving costs something too. The difference is what you lose and what you gain. When you stay, the cost is quiet. It doesn't hit all at once. It drains you slowly, day by day. Year by year, you lose energy, you lose curiosity, you lose parts of yourself you can't name anymore. You start living on autopilot. You become efficient, reliable, and empty. Staying feels safe, but safety has its own danger. It teaches you to tolerate what you once questioned. It convinces you that comfort is the same as peace. Leaving feels sharp. It hurts fast. You lose familiarity. You lose approval. You lose the comfort of being known. But leaving gives something back. It gives space, it gives clarity, it gives you back your attention. When you leave, you face fear directly. Not the loud kind, the quiet fear of standing alone without explanation. That fear shapes you. Staying asks you to shrink. Leaving asks you to grow. One keeps you acceptable. The other makes you honest. The crowd will tell you staying is mature. They'll say leaving is reckless. But they never measure the invisible cost of endurance. Time doesn't forgive hesitation. Years pass whether you choose or not. And one day you wake up knowing you paid for comfort with your potential. Leaving doesn't guarantee happiness, but staying guarantees stagnation. The real question isn't whether leaving is painful. It's whether staying is slowly erasing you. And once you see that clearly, the cost of leaving no longer feels too high. Alone is not the same as lonely. The crowd fears solitude. They call it emptiness. They think being surrounded means being whole. But real strength grows in silence. Solitude strips away distractions. It shows you who you really are. There's no applause, no judgment. Just the echo of your own thoughts. Most people avoid being alone. They fill every gap with noise, with faces, with endless scrolling, anything to keep from meeting themselves. But those who choose solitude unlock a hidden power. They become hard to read. They no longer depend on approval. Their energy is theirs again. Alone, you see which thoughts are yours and which were given to you. You notice which dreams still matter and which ones were borrowed from others. You move through the world with less explanation. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You protect your time. You make your presence a privilege, not a guarantee. The crowd cannot predict you anymore. You become rare, unpredictable, and a little dangerous. People sense the change. They wonder what you're thinking. They realize your absence stings more than your presence ever did. Solitude isn't a prison. It's a workshop. It's where you sharpen your edge. Let the crowd keep their comfort. You'll keep your power. Only those who learn to stand alone become truly unreadable. And once you taste that freedom, the noise of the world loses its grip forever. Distance changes everything. The ones who stay start to notice when you leave. At first, they call you selfish. They say you're cold. They wonder what happened to the old you. But soon something shifts. Your silence unsettles them. They sense a calm they can't touch. They wonder how you found peace they never could. Those who never left begin to envy you. They try to hide it behind small talk and jokes. But inside, a quiet resentment grows. You remind them of what they never dared to do. You didn't vanish to punish them. You walked away to find yourself. But your absence holds a mirror to their choices. They see the limits they accepted. They remember the moments they wanted to go, but stayed. Some will try to pull you back. They may test your patience. They may question your loyalty, but you've learned the difference between being needed and being used. You no longer fill every space just because you can. Peace is expensive. It costs comfort, old habits, and some friendships. But it gives you back your center. It lets you sleep at night. It teaches you to be whole, even if you're missed, misunderstood, or even resented. The rarest peace is the one that stands alone. Envy and resentment are just signs you finally chose yourself. Keep your distance. Let them feel it. The world will adjust to your absence, even if it never admits the real reason you left. Most people move to the rhythm they're given. They follow the beat of the crowd. They fit in, blend in, lose themselves in the noise. Every decision is a reaction to someone else's expectations. But there are a few who step differently. They don't wait for the group to set the pace. They don't match their stride to old patterns. When you find your own rhythm, everything shifts. You stop apologizing for not fitting in. You stop pretending that the crowd's music is your song. The world will notice. Some will call you stubborn, others will call you arrogant, but you will feel a freedom that cannot be borrowed. Walking to your own beat is not rebellion for its own sake. It's a decision to live by your own rules. It's the only way to find the meaning others are still searching for. This path is quiet. You may feel alone. You may lose the comfort of blending in. But you gain something stronger: identity. People will try to pull you back. They'll remind you of old rhythms. They'll say you've changed. Let them talk. Every step you take in your own time makes you harder to predict, harder to control. You become rare, unreachable by those still dancing for approval. In a world addicted to imitation, your original pace is the ultimate act of courage. Keep moving to your own drummer. That's where real life begins. You don't owe the world an explanation. Most people try to make themselves understood. They defend every decision. They justify every step. They explain until there's nothing left but exhaustion. But there is power in silence. There is strength in refusing to argue. When you stop explaining, people start to wonder. They try to read you, they guess your reasons, they fill in the blanks with their own fears. Explaining gives away your power. It makes your boundaries soft. It gives others a map to your weaknesses. But when you move in silence, you become unpredictable. You make your presence heavy, your absence even heavier. The crowd hates what it can't understand. They want you to break character, to plead, to convince. But you don't have to. Every time you hold back your words, you sharpen your edge. Every time you walk away without a speech, you show them you're not there to be managed. You protect your energy. You stop being a source of comfort for those who drain you. Some will push harder, desperate for a reaction. They will try to pull you back into the old cycle. Don't give in. Let your silence be the answer. Let your actions replace your words. In the end, your refusal to explain becomes your shield. You become unreadable. You become rare. The world learns to respect what it cannot decode, and you finally hold the power that was always yours. Leaving changes you. You step out as one person, you come back as someone else. The world may not recognize you, old friends look twice. Familiar places feel different, you carry new scars. You bring back new boundaries. You move with a quieter confidence. People will notice, but they might not understand. Some will keep their distance, some will question your choices. They will wonder why you don't fit their memories anymore. This is the price of real growth. You outgrow the spaces that once felt safe. You see through the routines that used to keep you trapped. Your silence is deeper now. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain what you learned away from the crowd. The rare become strangers in their old world. But that's the cost of becoming true. It's the proof you didn't just leave. You returned changed. You may feel lonely, you may miss how simple it used to be, but you'll never trade honesty for comfort again. Let the crowd talk. Let them wonder. You know who you are now. You know what you're willing to lose. You've learned that belonging at any price is never worth the cost. Returning changed is the highest proof you were honest with yourself. And even if the world doesn't understand, you'll never go back to the old disguise. The world remembers those who disappeared. Absence has its own power. People start to talk when you're gone. Stories grow in the silence you leave behind. At first, they may forget you. They fill your spot, they adjust to new routines, but something always lingers. Your absence becomes a presence. It hangs in the air. It makes people reconsider what they took for granted. They remember the things you did. They replay your words. They realize you meant more than they admitted. The rare who walk away often become legends. People retell their stories. They wonder where you went. They wonder if you'll ever return. The crowd only feels your presence once you're not there to give it. Distance gives you value. The space you leave behind is the proof that you mattered. Most people live and vanish with no mark, but the ones who left by choice create echoes. They become a standard. They become a mystery. Some will admire you from afar. Others will resent you for going, but all will remember you in a different light. That is the strange legacy of those who leave. They turn absence into influence. They make the world measure what was lost. In the end, you become unforgettable, not because you tried to be, but because your absence changed everything. Not everyone will accept your change. Some people need to keep you small. They want you familiar, predictable. They feel safer when you fit their old ideas. When you stop following, they get anxious. When you set boundaries, they feel threatened. When you refuse to explain, resentment grows. It's not about you being cruel, it's about them losing control. People fear what they can't direct. They turn discomfort into anger. Sometimes their words become sharp. They call you distant. They accuse you of being selfish. They tell others you've changed for the worse. But this anger isn't about you. It's about lost comfort. It's about realizing they can't pull your strings anymore. The more untouchable you become, the more some people will push back. They try to bait you into arguments. They try to guilt you back into old patterns. Stay silent. Don't justify. Let them show their real reasons. Hate is the crowd's last weapon when control is gone. They want you to break. They want you to fold. But you don't have to react. You don't have to give them what they want. The world fears those who answer only to themselves. You will lose some connections, but you'll never lose yourself again. True freedom is becoming unmanageable, and that's what the world can never forgive or forget. Leaving isn't just walking out the door. It's a decision you make deep inside. You let go of the need to please. You stop chasing lost approval. You build boundaries brick by brick. Preparation matters. You can't just vanish without a plan. You decide what to keep and what to leave behind. You gather your strength. You accept that some people will never understand. Leaving without regret means knowing why you go. It means you faced your fear of disappointment. You choose honesty over comfort. You accept the loneliness that can come with freedom. Every ending has a price. There will be doubts. There will be moments of missing what you left. But regret fades when you remember what you gained. You learn to trust your decision. You give yourself permission to start new. You understand that moving forward is more important than clinging to what's lost. Some will judge your exit. Some will try to pull you back. They may say you'll regret your choice, but you know the truth. Regret comes from staying silent, not from leaving. Regret comes from betraying yourself to keep others happy. The art is leaving with your head high. Leaving because you chose to, not because you were forced. It's freedom paid for by courage. You walk out, not as a victim, but as the rare one who dared to begin again. You disappeared. The world kept turning, but something was missing. Absence changes the room. People notice the quiet. They feel the gap where you used to be. They replay old conversations. They wonder what you're doing now. Some wish they had listened more. Some wish they had valued your presence before it was gone. Most will never say it aloud. But your absence speaks louder than any words. It lingers in the spaces you once filled. It reminds others what real presence feels like. You became rare. You became the one they couldn't replace. Your value didn't fade with distance, it grew. Others may try to move on, but the mark you left remains. You showed them what it means to live on your own terms. You proved that walking away is sometimes the boldest act of all. Your story becomes a lesson. Your name becomes a quiet standard. The world admires from a distance, even if it never admits the truth. Being missed is the highest respect. Never being replaced is the rarest legacy. If you're ready to stop living for the crowd, this is your moment. Subscribe now. Claim your place among the rare. Let your absence speak for you. And let the world remember the power of the one who finally walked away.